victory as Kirk Herbstreit joins me now. Herbie, you want to let Pete handle this? You got time for your boy Van Pelt? You good for?
I'm always here for you. He's just down here on the floor beneath me. But yeah, what a game, man! What a weekend! 5 straight days of college football.
Loved it, and I'm going to get your thoughts on that in a minute. But as I said there in the beginning of that highlight, I hope and I think our viewers at home understand the build-up and the hype. It's Bill Belichick. He's coming to coach college football. Of course you're going to wonder and talk about what it might be. And this TCU team, look, we heard Sonny say they felt disrespected. They played that way tonight, didn't they? That Frog team played with an edge, and they played with the experience that they brought to town.
Exactly. I mentioned during the broadcast, because I was down on the field with him, that I talked to him with him throughout the week, getting ready for the broadcast. He didn't really bring up much about feeling a bit disrespected, but on the field as they were getting ready and minutes away from kickoff, I said, "How you guys feeling tonight?" He said, "We're very ready." He said, "We feel slighted, we feel disrespected." And I said, what you just said. And he goes, "Hey, no, don't get me wrong. I have more respect than anybody for Bill Belichick, but no one's brought us up throughout this whole thing, and our players, feel it. And so we're anxious to go out and play this game." And the way it started, I mean, it looked great for Carolina, but TCU, as you mentioned, an experienced team, a veteran team that knows how to win football games. They won 9 a year ago, and I think they came into this game with a great deal of confidence. And now that this story is over, now it's about where TCU might be headed in the Big 12 this year. And North Carolina obviously has to kind of regroup after week 1.
I agree. And looking at that TCU schedule, which you all showed, they've got some chances against teams like SMU and Arizona State fairly early in the season, playoff teams a year ago, to show that perhaps Sonny Dykes, who we know played for a title a few years ago, maybe they have the makings. It's very early, but TCU with an emphatic statement on a night where they felt slighted but made a loud statement. As for Carolina, look, optimism in the offseason, easiest thing in the world to sell. You bring a new coach to town, I don't care who it is. We're going to fly to the ball. We're going to play with tempo. We brought in all these new guys, and that's great. But the reality that we saw on tape tonight is that there appear to be some deficiencies on the lines of scrimmage in particular. What's Bill Belichick going to do? Because I get being a good coach, but you can't overcome what you don't have. What do they lack?
Well, they're going to have to continue to recruit and develop, obviously. But for the time being, what we saw, because no one knew with 70 new players what they really had. I mean, even trying to put our chart and our boards together, try to figure out who's on this team was somewhat challenging, until we got to the end of the first quarter. What do they have? They have a team right now that's got to get a lot better with physicality at the line of scrimmage. They got to tackle better as a group. A lot of times they would run to the ball, pursuit, and be there, and then just not finish the play, which will drive Bill Belichick and his son Steve, the defensive coordinator, crazy. I think Max Johnson, I don't know the injury to Gio. You don't know how serious that is, but when Max Johnson got in there, his experience at LSU and A&M really showed. I thought he was more decisive. He got the ball out. There just seemed to be a little bit of a flow and rhythm to the offense with him in there. So wouldn't be shocked if maybe he gets an opportunity here in the next game or two. And at the end of the day, they just got to continue to find pieces. And in the film, when you're down 41-7, I bet there's some guys that were starters that maybe they didn't give quite 100%. Yeah. Maybe guys that came in off the bench did. So they're going to continue to tweak and try to get better. But I don't know about you, but this is a team that obviously has got a long way to go by the time they get into conference play to try to be a competitive team.
They do. Their schedule isn't as difficult as it could be given what we saw from the ACC. No. That they duck a lot of the teams that really made emphatic statements. And I want to close with that, Herbie. You mentioned it's been a 5-day feast for folks like us that love college ball. The statements that were made that you think were the loudest, that will resonate beyond just early September. Who caught your eye that you're saying they really showed me a lot?
LSU would be the first one, just because they have a defense to go with the quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. They got pieces around Garrett. The other thing that I think stood out to me was his play on the road in that environment. That was a tough game for them. They played smart. He didn't turn the ball over, which at times was an issue for him last year. I think they're a real threat in the SEC and potentially for a national title. The other team has got to be Florida State. I mean, we were kind of kidding, like Tommy Castellanos, what is this guy doing? What's he thinking? calling out Alabama. You don't want to ever do that against Alabama. I don't know what's a bigger story, how good Florida State looked or how terrible Alabama looked. It's a toss-up. I'm anxious to see what Alabama does with Kalen DeBoer. He's a great coach. He's got some good players. But to me, it was more about energy, a lack of effort, not necessarily just execution. It's like, where's the speed on this team? I know they have Ryan Williams, but they just didn't look like a team that had, I don't know if they had ankle weights on or what their deal was, but they look slow to me. So I don't know where they go from here. They got to get a lot better. But Florida State, going back to your theme, it's got to be a team you walk away with, along with Miami, that looks like, wow, those two teams, 1 week, but those two teams I thought made great statements.
Yeah, Stanford Steve and I do a pod late Saturday night, and we both mentioned that Florida State program is a proud program. They put the money into Doak, and they played with an energy that's reminiscent of the old days of Coach Bowden when they were in your face every single play and let you see it and hear it and feel it. They were tremendous. They start with a lightning bolt down there in Tallahassee. Herbie, you were fantastic throughout. I know you time to get some rest and get home. Get Pete out of there. Give him a treat and a pat on the head from his buddy Van Pelt. Look forward to talking to you soon, all right, my friend?
You got it. Yeah, you got it, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, you as well. Well, it was 34 years ago today Bill Belichick made his head coaching debut with the Cleveland Browns against the Cowboys. They were littered with Hall of Famers. Bill told Holly Rowe before tonight, I hope it goes better than that game against Jimmy Johnson. This one didn't. 9 years and one infamously short tenure with the Jets. Later, Belichick made his debut. The Patriots against Tony Dungy's Buccaneers. Tampa Bay would win 21-16. New England finished that year 5-11. One of just 4 losing seasons that Belichick had in 24 years at the helm, and Foxborough, which of course, as we know, featured ring after ring after ring. Tonight, Chapel Hill. Started beautifully with a touchdown drive, scripted, could not have gone any better, and it ends in a night where they gave up the most points of any Bill Belichick coached team ever. Dusty Dvorak is with us in studio. And Dusty, I just want to piggyback on what I was saying to Herbie that you and I were talking about upstairs. The pregame show is supposed to be about Belichick.
Has to be.
We're supposed to go overboard because Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick, and he's coaching in college, and they've gone out and brought in all these people. And that is the story you sell. And then there's the reality. When you put 60 on the clock, and then you put it on tape. And then we saw what the reality for Carolina is. I want to get to that in a minute. I want to give TCU their love because this is a 9-win team. And when the game was close early and they grabbed the victory, what is it that they did that put this one to bed in a big way?
Well, they bounced back. UNC went right down and scored, and then obviously TCU answered and they came back. But the pivotal moment in this, to me, was the pick six by Bud Clark. It's a 10-7 ball game, right? North Carolina just got a huge stop, and all of a sudden now they've got the football. It's a 3-point game. Let's take a look at what happens. Man-to-man coverage here on the outside. Okay, we're going to get man-to-man out there. We're going to get an inside route. It's going to come here, and we're going to work out here. And then Bud Clark is the key to this entire thing. He's matched up with that inside slot receiver, and you're going to see the anticipation. It's a fifth-year senior, a veteran guy for this Frogs defense. Andy Avalos has to love it. Just freeze it right here, and he's just going to pick it and take it to the house. It's easy. He read it from Gio Lopez, a long throw, and it made it easy. Now this was the haymaker. And we're sitting there after halftime, and Herbie says, with everything that happened, North Carolina has to get a big stop here on defense. Or this happens. This is how they draw it up on the chalkboard. Hat on a hat is what we like to call this. And it's a simple gap scheme run. And I want you to just take a look at what happens here. Everybody gets blocked. Everybody does exactly what they're supposed to do. And Barnes is patient. He follows his blocks. Strike up the band. It's too easy. The line of scrimmage was the difference for me. Josh Hoover put up great numbers, but throughout the course of this ball game, TCU up front on both lines of scrimmage, they were just too good. I thought that was really glaring difference between these two football teams. And TCU is a good team. They've got a veteran quarterback. They've got veterans on defense. Sonny Dykes knows how to win. And in this Big 12, where we don't know exactly what's going to happen, they are very much a player and very alive to make some noise here in the Big 12.
I love that league just because I feel like there's real interesting teams. Like Arizona State came from somewhere somewhat out of nowhere last year. I feel like Utah made a loud statement. There's some teams that are going to go away out there. I feel like TCU, I don't know if they're really good and Carolina stinks. Could be a little bit of both. But when Carolina goes out in the offseason and gets Bill Belichick, that's the headline. But then you go out and get 70 new players, and that's fine and dandy, but when you're trying to put it together and you find out real quick, maybe we're light up front, how is that overcomable isn't a word. How do you overcome that if that is as glaring a weakness as it appeared it might be?
I think you have to continue to practice. You got to grind. You got to push guys and find out who wants to play.
And you fix that between Monday to Saturday?
It's going to be tough. The one thing they have going for them is a favorable schedule. Clemson's on that schedule. Miami is not. Georgia Tech is not. Louisville is not.
Florida State's not.
Florida State is not. So they're going to have to take advantage of a favorable schedule, and they're going to have to get better. Look, we know Bill Belichick knows how to scheme. They're going to have to do a good job scheming. I'll be intrigued what happens at quarterback between Gio Lopez, Max Johnson came in, gave him a little bit of a spark, but there's clearly been a quarterback race that he's won. How do you overcome a lack of talent and a personnel issue? It's going to be tough. There's no magic wand at this point in time.